I am Dr. Manu, Senior Interventional Cardiologist from Medicina Hospital, Kollam. In this session, I am going to discuss about heart attack, its mechanism, its causes, its diagnosis, its treatment and prevention. So what's the significance of heart attack? Heart attack is a leading killer of mankind in the world. It accounts for nearly 17.5 million deaths annually worldwide, which is more than the deaths caused due to cancer, accidents or infectious diseases. And previously it was believed that heart attack mainly affects old persons, usually persons more than 60 years of age. But now often we hear that persons as young as in the 20s, 30s or 40s dies due to heart attack. So what exactly is this heart attack? As you all know, heart is a vital or essential organ in the human body, and its non-stopping functioning, that is contraction and relaxation, helps to pump blood throughout the body, maintaining circulation, and thereby each and every organ and cell of the body receives nutrients and oxygen through the circulated blood. And heart is made of muscle, and heart is also an organ, and for its non-stop functioning, heart should also receive uninterrupted continuous source of blood supply. And this is achieved through three blood vessels supplying the heart, which are called coronary arteries. One coronary artery on the right side called right coronary artery, and two coronary arteries on the left side, which arise from a main branch called left main coronary artery. So altogether, three coronary arteries supply blood to the heart. And blockage or narrowing of these blood vessels may interrupt or may obstruct blood supply to a portion of heart, resulting damage to the heart muscle, and this is called heart attack. And the scientific term is called myocardial infarction, and myocardium means muscle and infarction is damage of the heart muscle. So basically heart attack is due to damage to the heart muscle resulting from blockage of one of the blood vessels supplying the heart. Now coming to what are the risk factors for developing a heart attack. Actually, this mechanism of this blockage of blood vessel is due to deposition of cholesterol and calcium and other cells in the inner part of the vessel, thereby compromising the lumen. And this process is called atherosclerosis. And there are certain risk factors for developing atherosclerosis. So every individual, whether he himself or herself, should ask whether he or she is prone to develop heart attack in the future. So what are the risk factors for developing heart attack? First is age. If you are a male and if you are a male more than 45 years of age, or female more than 55 years of age, is a risk factor. Similarly, if you are a hereditary history of heart disease, if you have a family history of heart disease, especially if your father or immediate male relative less than 55 years of age, or if your mother or immediate female relative less than 65 years of age had a heart attack or a stroke, then you also have a risk of developing heart attack in the future. If you are a smoker, or if you are an active smoker, or if you work or live with someone who is an active smoker, then that's a risk factor. If your blood pressure is high, if your systolic blood pressure is more than 40 millimeter and diastolic blood pressure more than 90 millimeter mercury after 18 years of age, is hypertension, and if you have hypertension, your chances more. If you have high blood sugar, that is diabetes, if the fasting blood sugar should be ideally less than 110 millimeter, and postprandial blood sugar should be ideally less than 140 milligram. So if the blood sugar is outside with these limits, that's called either pre-diabetic state or frank diabetes, that is a risk factor. If your blood cholesterol level is high, the bad cholesterol, that is LDL, low density lipoprotein cholesterol, should be less than 130, and your good cholesterol, that is HDL, should be more than 40. So if your HDL is less than 40 and if your LDL is more than 130, then the risk of developing atherosclerosis and heart attack is high. If you are an obese person, that is if your weight is outside the limits, the recommended limits, again you have a higher risk for developing heart attack. If you had a previous stroke or a peripheral vascular disease, that means they are also due to atherosclerosis of the respective blood vessels, then also you had a high risk for heart disease. So these are the risk factors for developing heart attack. Now coming to the symptoms of heart attack. When a patient develops heart attack, that is myocardial infarction, it is, as I already said, it is due to a blockage of one of the vessels supplying the heart. The patient presents with a severe chest pain, and the chest pain is usually in the central part, and it may spread to the both the limbs, or it may spread to the neck or upper back, or it may spread to the upper abdomen, and it is usually associated with severe sweating, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, indigestion, or a fainting episode, or breathlessness. And but especially, even though chest pain is a classical symptom, especially in elderly persons and in chronic diabetics or elderly females, the pain may not be classical. Instead, they may present with a breathlessness or a fainting episode or a feeling of impending doom or severe fatigue like that. That's called silent myocardial infarction or silent heart attack. But the classical symptom is chest pain. Now coming to the diagnosis is basically based on electrocardiogram, which is a simple test. Any patient coming to the emergency department with chest pain, first test we will do is usually electrocardiogram, which will reveal the classical findings in the first ECG itself. If the first ECG doesn't reveal any changes, we will take a repeat or serial ECGs which may reveal the findings. And the next test is a blood test. A blood test may detect the cardiac proteins like troponins in the blood. As I have already said, heart attack is due to the damage to the heart muscle due to the obstruction of the blood supply. So when heart muscle damage occurs, the heart muscle proteins will be released into the blood, and that can be detected, and that is a finding of a myocardial infarction. And an echocardiogram, cardiac ultrasonography in a patient with heart attack will show a portion of the heart muscle is not contracting. That is called regional wall motion abnormality. So the electrocardiogram or a blood test or echo shows evidence of myocardial infarction. Then we will take the patient for coronary angiogram, which is the final diagnostic test. In coronary angiogram, we will inject a dye into one of the coronary vessels, and an X-ray will be taken, and this will show an obstructed blood supply. Among the three blood arteries, one of the artery will be occluded, and that's the cause of myocardial infarction, and that will be revealed in the coronary angiogram. So if the patient had a myocardial infarction or a heart attack due to obstructed blood vessel, the treatment is immediate restoration of the blood flow. And this can be achieved by two means, and now the treatment of choice is called primary angioplasty. The patient will be taken for angiogram, and angiogram will show the obstructed vessel, and in the obstructed vessel we will pass a wire, and a balloon will be used to dilate that block, and a metal piece called stent will be deployed at the site of the block, and the flow will be restored. And this can be achieved in almost 90% of cases by angioplasty, and this is a treatment of choice for myocardial infarction. But if the angioplasty is not available, or is technically not feasible, or it is not feasible due to logistic reasons, then we can give medications, but medications to lyse the clot that has been formed. But medications are effective only in 50% of cases, and if you are given the medication for myocardial infarction, then you have to shift the patient to a center where cath lab facility is available, and angiogram should be done within 24 hours. But now any patient with heart attack, the treatment of choice is primary angioplasty, where the patient will be subjected to angiogram, and the block will be revealed and will be opened by balloon, and a stent will be deployed at the site of the block. So this is a patient presented with a heart attack, that's myocardial infarction. You can see that one of his left-sided blood vessels supplying the heart is completely blocked from here. So I already said three blood vessels are there, two on the left side and one on the right side. This is a left-handed descending artery, this is a left circumflex artery. This vessel is totally cut off from here, and his right-sided blood vessel is okay. So in a patient presenting with heart attack, if you do an immediate angiogram will reveal one of the vessels will be occluded actually, and the treatment is immediate restoration of flow to that occluded vessel. We passed a wire, and a balloon is used to dilate that block, and a stent, the metal piece called stent, is deployed across the site of obstruction, and flow is restoring. So this is the treatment of the myocardial infarction, and with the angioplasty the flow can be restored in more than 90% of cases. Unlike medications, when you give medications, only 50% of this will be effective. So this is the treatment of choice for myocardial infarction, and it should be done as early as possible, because time is called muscle. Time is muscle, because when the artery is occluded, the muscle will be completely damaged within 12 hours. So the primary angioplasty should be done within 12 hours of the onset of chest pain, preferably as early as 6 hours. Because if you restore the flow after 12 hours, then there is no much use, and the mortality and morbidity will be high. Now coming to prevention of heart attack, as you all know, any disease, prevention is better than cure, and for a heart attack is also prevention is better than cure. Rather than developing a heart attack and getting treatment, it is better to prevent a heart attack. So what are the methods to prevent a heart attack? Of course, studies have found that 80% of the heart attacks can be prevented by adopting a heart healthy lifestyle. A heart healthy lifestyle includes: 1. Daily exercise. You have to exercise at least 30 minutes a day into 5 times a day. That is nearly 150 minutes per week of moderate aerobic exercise, like brisk walking or cycling or swimming like that, or a vigorous exercise like running or jogging. At least 75 minutes of vigorous exercise in a week is a must. Then adopting a heart healthy diet. Heart healthy diet includes a diet with lots of vegetables, fruits, fish, non-tropical vegetable oils, and less in salt, less sugar, less saturated fat, and less tropical oils. And third important preventive measure is avoidance of smoking. And for fourth important measure is you have to check your blood pressure, blood sugar, and blood cholesterol level, and you should ensure that these parameters should be within normal limits. And cardiovascular screening should start at the age of 20 years. There's every individual after the age of 20 years annually should check the blood pressure, blood sugar and blood cholesterol level and ensure that there should be within normal limits. If the parameters are outside the limits, then through lifestyle modifications or through drugs, you have to reduce these parameters within normal limits, then you can reduce the risk of heart attack in the future. So a heart healthy lifestyle is very important to prevent the future risk of heart attack.